This is Andrew Dudich for WITY, and right now I'm speaking with Don a little bit on chainsaw safety. Thanks for joining me today.
Glad to be here.
You're with Eastern Illini Electric Cooperative. Tell me a little bit about what you do day to day.
Day to day, we typically remove tree limbs away from the line, hazardous limbs, hazardous trees. There's basically a two-man crew until summertime, and then we split up. Junior Price and I, we split up and have two trucks and two chippers going, and then we oversee all the tree contractors that we hire. That basically they do the lion's share of the work. We're there to assist members with little projects that come up throughout the year that aren't really on the schedule for the tree contractors. So for the most part, Junior and I take care of the substations closest to Paxton. We try to let the contractors do the outlying areas. So for the most part, we trim on a daily basis, but we do removals and hazardous limbs and that type of thing too.
And then when we have severe weather like we've had this year, are you active during all that as well?
Unfortunately, yeah. Junior and I are the last two called, and when we get called, we know it's bad. We typically will run ahead of the line crews and remove trees and branches from the line so that when the line crews get there, all they have to do is put the wire back up or replace a pole or whatever the case may be. Storm work can be fun, but after about 12, 14 hours of it, it gets pretty old in a hurry. So at my age, I dread that phone call. So, but it's a necessity. The guys are all capable of running a saw, but they prefer when we do it because we do it every day.
And then you've had a lot of experience by doing all of this. What are some of the top safety things people need to know if they're trying to cut something at home?
Well, one of the things that I try to stress to people is don't take your little garden tractor or your Ford tractor and think that you can push a tree over. It's not enough equipment to do that. We do things with ropes more than we do anything else, because as long as you put a rope in the top third of any tree, you can have some control over it. Give it a little bit of help in the direction that it wants to go. You put a tractor up against it, you're only reaching up 8-9 feet at most, and it's just not enough to help you direct a tree. The other thing that we talk about all the time is when we use a rope, you never put your hand in a coil in a rope. And the video that we're going to show here a little bit later on today, it shows that kind of drastically. It can be a really bad deal. So just some of the biggest things that we run into as far as meeting homeowners that have had issues, a lot of times their chainsaws are not big enough to be cutting what they're trying to cut, and it can cause an issue. So I realize that it's cheaper sometimes to buy your own saw and do it yourself, but not always the wisest.
Trees have a lot of weight to them, and the bigger they are, the more kind of unpredictable they might be.
Yeah, and you don't know until you get a saw into a tree if it's even good wood all the way through. It could be hollow as can be, and if you get into a hollow tree, there's quite a little bit of a pucker factor involved, and I say that laughingly, but it's not funny when it happens. When you cut into a big tree and find that there's only 2 inches of wood all the way around, it's a little on the nerve-wracking side, to say the least.
Do you have any other recommendations for people if they're unsure of what they're doing?
Call your local professional. I know people want things done immediately. You get a mess in your yard, and the last thing you want to do is mow around it while you're waiting for somebody to get there. But a big portion of the time, it'd be a wise idea just to get your local professional in there. And it's not always cheap, but you put the burden on them. Then they're trained, they know what they're doing, and they should be able to take care of you pretty quickly.
Well, we want everybody to be safe out there, and that's one of the big tenets of Eastern Illini Electric Cooperative. And we thank you for giving everybody a basic idea of things to look forward to.
You bet. Yeah, hopefully we'll do this another year or two, and the membership's been real good to us. They've really came out and watched the seminars, and hopefully we can continue to bring them something new all the time, and they'll learn a little more about it, and hopefully maybe keep somebody from getting hurt.
Well, that's the plan. This has been Andrew Dudich for WITY.